I present the social media method, and this is how to set up your social medias to get clients who actually want to buy online coaching from you rather than those who just want to buy personal training sessions. So I'm going to go through three very distinctive parts of this. We're going to go through the first understanding that we need to have, which is thinking niche first, not where do I get leads. Number two, we're going to understand a breakdown of the three layers of the system, I guess three phases we might call it. Some people call this the funnel. So the three phases of the funnel, what you need to do on each of the phases. And the last part, which kind of finishes off the funnels, which is how to have a sell system. By the way, my three layers of the funnel: CNS, top, middle funnel, connect, nurture, sell. So the last part is the sell system and the movement that you can help people have on your calls. So you can help them, and I mean these words, these all come back. You can help them to see why they would want to get your online coaching and why personal training may not be the best thing for them, and depends on their needs. So I'll go through that. So what do I mean by the first thing? Let me give you an example that my first coach, Glenn, talked about. Imagine you were going into a big Starbucks and it's really busy. And these huge ones in, I don't know, a big metropolitan city like New York or London. And it's like even like a mezzanine and floor levels. And you just go in there and you just start shouting, oi. Probably people are going to think you're a bit nuts, but no one's going to, they're going to look around and then just turn back to their friends or who's that crazy, right? Whereas if you went in there and you just shouted like, I don't know, John, or I know a popular name, Peter, I don't know, John, let's say you're in England, and you might find in that area, in that kind of, you know, a few hundred people, that someone is actually called John, and they turn around and go, yeah, that's me. I'm looking for a John. And then someone's like, yeah, I'm John. And that's the difference between talking to a niche and understanding, and not just talking to a niche, having a tight niche that you really understand, or just randomly going on some social media channel and just saying the same thing as everyone else and hoping that people are going to pick you out, because they're probably not. So one of the things that happens with people when they come on to calls with me or when we have conversations like, you know, where do I get leads for my online program? And it's probably the age-old question that I've had for about a decade. And what I say is this to them: we're getting the syntax, the sequence of the parts incorrect. And that's what most experienced personal trainers do when they're trying to start, like, I don't know, trying a bit of online, just kind of experimenting with it, or maybe they bought some course or something, or maybe they're just trying to figure it out themselves. Oh, I can just put some stuff on social media and hope that I can get some extra little income. Or maybe they go and do it and they get a mentorship and it's just not that very good. Who knows, right? And the first thing that we need to sit down and understand is exactly who do you want to work with. We need absolute clarity on that, because in internet marketing, in the personal training game, has definitely gone from a 3 that it used to be when I first started mentoring to an 8, right? By the way, you could literally go into ChatGPT now and say, write me a social media post to talk to busy executives and give me 3 top tips. And it will probably do a better job than most fit pros would do, or most people that don't understand marketing. And you're competing against that, right? So what we do is we first sit down and we say, right, exactly who do you want to work with? A niche should have affluence, it should have pain, you should have an affinity to it, and it should be that it's relatively easy to target on a social media channel. So instead of thinking, right, which channel, which strategy, which tactic, which funnel do I use, we step back and say, who is your ideal client? You want to understand psychographics, demographics of the people you want to speak to. For instance, my business works with experienced personal trainers who are in the gym. They've been in the gym for 5 years or more, and often getting on for a decade and sometimes even more. They're generally going to be over 35. They've got family, they've got responsibilities. Now, I also know where I find those type of clients. A lot of my clients are certainly still on Facebook. Are they on Instagram? Yeah, they are for sure. Are they fishing in the wrong pond when they're looking for their clients on Instagram? Well, it depends on who they want to work with. If, for instance, they end up realizing, I want to work with 40-year-old guys, executive guys, like, you're probably in the wrong place. You might be better off on a different social media channel. You can't decide which channel to use before you have identified and clarified with specificity who you want to work with. So, number 2, the idea of just what a lead generation system, what a funnel looks like, and it's a visual representation of what you need to do to have in place for funneling clients from initially not knowing you, eventually to joining your program. So we could kind of look at it like this, where there's a funnel, and we look top, middle, or bottom, right? By the way, if you're like, Tim, this is like sucking eggs, like, apologies for this, but I just want to give some clarity. What our system is called CNS, Connect, Nurture, Sell. So what we want to do is we want to have systems and structures in place for each of the 3 phases, because we're trying to take people in the top and eventually bring them down to join our program. So we need to have a focus on each of these phases. Connect, after you've understood your avatar, you've got complete clarity on exactly who you want to work with, then you go and select the social media channel you want to work with. That will often, certainly for my clients, it's one of 3 or sometimes 2 of 3. It will be Facebook, it will be Instagram, or LinkedIn. Now, am I the biggest fan of Instagram? It depends on the avatar, and again, it really does. So if you're working with stay-at-home mums, fantastic. Now, if you're working with stay-at-home mums, probably the last place you want to be is on LinkedIn. They're probably not going to be on there because it's a business platform. If you're working with entrepreneurs, Facebook can definitely be good. Instagram, LinkedIn is good. If you're working with executives, and maybe you go a little bit more not micro niche, maybe you're working with lawyers or financiers or something like that, LinkedIn is an absolute goldmine because it's very targetable. So you understand the channels that you're going to be on, and then that does somewhat affect the top of the funnel, and that is the connect phase. The way my business does the connect phase, i.e. adds eyeballs into the funnel, is through a combination of paid and organic. Most fit pros, when they've not had an online business or not got traction, they are faced with that choice. Do I do paid, organic, or both? My honest opinion is, for most of you guys, if you've never sold anything online or not anything substantial, the last thing that you want to do is start trying to make paid advertising work, because you'll probably burn a lot of money. You better have deep pockets. And again, if you don't have a decent understanding of your avatar and how to speak to them on organic, you'll die a death on paid because you'll lose money. So we have a combination of using organic means and paid, but for a lot of people, it will be organic means. So really, in the end, it's not just a numbers game, because if we step back from that, we have to understand putting ourselves in front of the right type of people, but then it does become a little bit of a numbers game. We have a system that we use. So eventually we use some softwares, depending on what platform you're in. You can use softwares in LinkedIn for sure. You can use them in Facebook. We use one in Facebook. You can use a combination of that and VAs. You can certainly use VAs if you're in Instagram. But that wouldn't be the first thing that I would do. You basically want to start putting a number of eyeballs, ideal client eyeballs, have a number that you aim for, and then you want to go and start building that audience. How do you build the audience? Well, again, eventually you use a software. You use some VAs, but you know what? At the beginning, it's a little bit of old-fashioned elbow grease, and people don't like to be told this. And it's like, yes, it's elbow grease. So maybe it's like, okay, I've got 1,500 people on my Facebook following. I want to get to 3,000. Okay, cool. So then you go and build up to 3,000. Of course, it's not just a numbers game. You want to be making sure that you connect with the right people. All of the social media channels now encourage you to connect. Here's a big shift. When I first started online, Facebook would close you down if you had like Tim Drummond /PT or whatever in the name of your Facebook URL name. Instagram was just full of people LinkedIn was just full of people sharing CVs. They didn't want you to be content producers. Now they want you to be content producers. They want you to connect with people. They want you to show your stuff and build audience because it keeps people on their platform longer. So we definitely have that ability to do the top of the funnel. And again, it wants to be specific. Otherwise, it's an absolute waste of time when you're connecting and building an audience of the wrong people. Then the nurture phase, for sure, in the medium term, you want to have some sort of pin post in Facebook is really good. It's almost like the first step into your world. You have a lead magnet, for instance. But again, lead magnets are somewhat dead in 2025 if they're just generic talking to everyone. They have to be specific and specifically solve a specific issue for a specific person. We use a VSL, but not straight away. But again, none of this is useful if you don't very, very much know your avatar. But that nurture stage, and here's one thing that I'm going to add to you. When it's nurture and it goes into the sell phase, sell is a sales system. We generally use what's called a 2-call close. We have a short 10-minute call where you qualify the person, you talk to them, you see, is this someone I want to work with or not? The reason that you have that in there is because you probably don't want to end up on a 45-minute conversation with someone who's not a fit and's never going to buy your stuff, because it can become a little bit frustrating. So you have a 10-minute call to qualify whether they're the right person or not. We generally put I don't know, it depends on how much you qualify for them and how good your marketing is. But if you feel like, yeah, this is someone that I could potentially help, you bring them onto a next call. Now, not everyone does that, I know, but I think it's the better way of doing it. I've been doing this for a decade, and it saved me a lot of time and a lot of headspace with not speaking to people that were just never going to buy my stuff. And this is key as well with the last part that I'm talking about, which is the power of the sell phase, right? But as we're going from the nurture phase into the sell phase, one of the things that has definitely changed is that people are so much more suspicious than they were even 5 years ago. I heard someone, it might have been Mr. Ashburley, maybe. I think it was him or other people. I agree with that, and I've seen it anyway before. What happened in COVID is everyone had a lot of money. They spent money on online fitness for the first time because they were stuck at home and the governments were giving them all free money, and they were just like, oh, they couldn't go to the pub. And so what do? With it? They spend, let's get all fit and healthy because we all don't want to die of COVID as well. And they spent a lot of money on online fitness. And the thing is, because most of the online fitness industry, if I'm being honest, is just substandard and people weren't prepared for it. So, a lot of people had to just jump online and they had no clue how to do it. And they might have been great personal trainers, but they didn't know what to do with online business or online programs, and it burnt a lot of people. And you know what? I think that the trust has just fallen out of the market. There's a economic theory which won a Nobel Prize, and it was called Market for Lemons, and it's basically talking about the fact that the lowest common denominator in a market, and they use used cars as an example, the lowest common denominator will destroy the trust in the whole of the market because people don't actually know the difference. There's an asymmetry of information. So when the asymmetry of information is there, i.e. the buyer is not fully informed, they spent a lot of money on substandard coaches who might have charged a lot, and they're like, this doesn't work. So we have to get over that. And one of the ways we get over that is by being normal people, like we would have been in the gym. We didn't just sit back and drink lattes at the reception, chatting to the receptionist if we wanted to build our business. No, we didn't. What did my first gym manager suggest that I do? Get out on the gym floor and talk to people. Did I like it at first? I probably didn't. Did I feel a bit icky at first? Did I feel like, I don't know if I should be interrupting them? Don't know if I should talk. Maybe I talked to someone and they were busy and they didn't talk back to me. Oh my God, do they hate me? And I just did it more. And I realised, people are busy, and sometimes I'd talk to them and sometimes they'd stop and chat, and other times they wouldn't, hello, how you doing? Good. Next time, how you doing? What's been happening? Yeah, good week. Yeah. Next time, what you training? By the time I speak to them for the fourth time, hey, listen, I saw this person, he said that this is a really good way of slightly doing bench differently. Could I just show you what I watched? Because I thought it was really good. Yeah. And then show them, then I go, you can feel that difference. Or what are you working on? I'm not getting anywhere with my goals. Just curious, how's your nutrition? Oh, it's terrible. you heard that like nutrition's like 80% of the, and the result, you can't out train a bad diet. Well, yeah, but I don't really know what I'm doing. Hey, listen, you want some quick advice? We could put in a little taster session, blah, 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 right? If you're a personal trainer who's been in the trenches for a decade, and you say, especially if you've been in a sort of public gym, like a box gym, like a Fitness First, like I was, that would have been just the normal part of the game. Now, eventually, if you were one of the better trainers, would you have more and more people coming up to you? Yes, I did. But I had to fill in the gaps, and that was from talking to people consistently. So the reality is online, you shouldn't be scared away from talking to people in Messenger. Facebook the other day sent me a badge because I'm a conversation starter. Facebook used to close you down if you tried to start conversations with people. Not, by the way, cold DMing. I don't mean anything like that. You're connected to people. They interact with your content. You have a chat with them. You're not trying to sell them shit. You're just trying to talk to them. And you know what? Eventually, maybe if they want some help, like you're the person they're going to think of, or maybe they interact with some of your stuff and it brings them into this sell phase. So here's the little bit of stuff you can do on the sales calls. Especially when you're new, you will do a reasonable amount of movement on your sales calls compared to your marketing. And here's why. Russell Brunson talks about the first, I think he first says the first 100K is sales, and he might even say the first million is sales. I personally think sales is easier to get good at quicker than marketing. Marketing is a very, very, very high, complex skill. Sales is, but also if you're good at asking questions and shut up and listen to people and just actually hear what their pains are and ask them questions, and it's not as difficult. Most of my movement when I first started the first year I made 6 figures, a lot of it was on just practicing and getting better at sales, better at listening, asking the right questions, etc. So I'm going to talk about some questions, very specific questions that you can use with people so you can help them see that maybe online is better for them than personal training. Because I've lost count of the times where personal trainers say to me, I tried to sell online, but no one wants to buy it. If I'd given them what they wanted, they would have got faster horses. Which is a very famous Daimler-Benz maybe, or Daimler, or was it Benz, or was it Ford? One of the dudes. If I'd given them what they wanted, they would have got fast horses because they don't know what they need. The personal training industry as a whole, in my opinion, and I loved being part of it, is a bit of a mismatch because most people who buy it, or a reasonable amount of people who buy personal training, buy it as a solution to weight loss, but it's not a solution to weight loss. It's a solution to getting fit, stronger. It originally came from sort of, I guess, sort of sports in America. And then all of a sudden people are like, let's push it onto the public to solve their weight loss goals. And it doesn't on its own actually. I mean, you could have a personal training session every week for 5 years and look no different. Lots of benefits, by the way, both. So let me give you some ways of structuring the conversation. I'm going to give you sort of a few different questions. Like this is going to be based on some principles around sales. Questions are the answers. Telling is selling. You want we use a 6-box selling system. We have a open, which builds rapport. We have a pain section, their current situation. We have a pleasure. We sort of look at some fact finding. We called it a bridge section where we get a shopping list of the things that they want and need. Then we make them an offer, and if we have to, we try and tackle some objections, but we're hoping we don't do those because they go like, yep. And within some of those sections, we want to ask questions in the idea of what have you tried before that didn't work? If you have a sales script, by the way, if you're a personal trainer and you've been selling personal training in the gym very successfully, and you probably convert most of the people that sit in front of you, you might need to make some changes when you're selling online for sure. And these are some of the changes that I would add in. What have you tried before that didn't work? What else? What else? What else? Depending on your avatar, the likelihood is they might have tried personal training before. Now, you want to ask them, what have you tried before that didn't work? I tried a personal trainer. Okay, cool. How was it? Yeah, and by the way, they could say lots of different things. It was terrible, or yeah, it was really good. It worked. Oh, this is the best thing I ever did. I lost loads of weight. Okay, so we need to understand the answers that might come back. But, it was terrible. Okay, what was it that wasn't great? What didn't work? What would you say that you would need instead? It was really good. I lost 10 pounds. Okay, cool. Like, fantastic. Tell me about, my personal trainer was brilliant. Tell me about all the great things that he was good at. He was really good at helping me exercise, really got me strong and fit. Okay, fantastic. Just sounds amazing. Like, just like curious, it's great that there's so many. If there was anything, what do you think could have been better? Is there anything that you think you could have got more help with? Well, actually, now you come to think of it, I always wondered, like, I didn't get a lot of nutrition help, or, yeah, I sometimes didn't feel like I got the support or accountability outside of the sessions, or, oh no, it was fantastic. And so I'm like, okay, cool. Do you mind if I just point something out? Hopefully it's not gonna annoy you or anything. They say yes. I'm like, it sounds like it was a fantastic experience, but I'm assuming next time you do something, you would actually want to get a solution that helps you lose the weight and keep it off. Would that okay? So, do you know when did it go back on, and do you know why it didn't stick? What would you say about, like, maybe some shifting of mindset? All the questions are the answers. I'm not trying to annoy the person. I'm on their side. They tell me eventually all the things that didn't work with their personal trainer, because then I'm going to start taking that option off the table. Okay, listen. Do you mind if I explain what I think helps people lose weight and keep it off for the long term? And they say yes. And this is my 5-pillar shift. Like, what I'm really doing is I'm taking what they perceive to be a 1-pillar solution, and I'm changing it to a 5-pillar problem. So I say, look, do you mind if I tell you all the things that I think people need to do to be able to lose weight and keep it off? And they say yes. They look, when I and my business partner, we wrote our first book, we put all the things that we felt people needed to do to lose weight. We came up with about a list of 90. And what we did is we put that into a 5-pillar methodology for the book. So we wanted people to be able to follow the book. Do you mind if I tell you what those are? And they would say yes. I'd say nutrition, training, like lifestyle factors, stress, sleep. We looked at habits, and we looked at kind of mindset as well. Those 5. What do you think? Does that sound about right? And they're like, yes. By the way, I just keep asking questions. I'm not telling people, I'm asking questions. Okay, cool. Look, if we were going to work together, and I'm not sure if we do, but if we were, what would you need the most help with out of those 5, do you think? What I'm really doing is I'm helping them see that the solution, or the problem anyway, and the solution doesn't just lay in a personal trainer, a training phase, a training pillar. Because I'm helping them see that much of the problem lays in nutrition, or mindset, or habits, or accountability. Okay, cool. So just going forward, I'm assuming that you're looking for a solution that's not just about like a workout or something. You feel like you want a nutrition advice. You said there about accountability, and accountability for you would be someone to just, make sure that you're sticking to the food. You said that you'd need a nutrition plan for when you travel, but also just some ideas and recipe ideas so you can make sure that you're eating the same thing as your family. Anything else? What I'm trying to do is get this shopping list, in their words, of things that they need, and I'm trying to take it away. And I say I'm doing this because I actually believe this. Online behavior change coaching is not only a system that doesn't let clients' results suffer, it's way more effective for weight loss, mindset, body transformation, stress reduction, a lot of the things that people want from personal training, than personal training is. And I'm taking it away in their mind with the use of questions of why they won't just go, oh yeah, I just don't want to hire a personal trainer. Last one, because I had my call with Rena. Last one. If they've had personal training before, this takes big balls. If they have personal training before, I want to write down a number of how much they've paid that personal trainer. Okay, so you had a personal trainer for, how long was that for? Oh, for 4 years. Oh, awesome. Fantastic. How many sessions a week did you do, by the way? 2 for the whole week. Fantastic. Just curious, by the way, and there is a reason I'm asking, like, what did they charge? Now, if I ask that timidly, I won't get an answer, but I ask it with strength. $50 an hour. Cool. Awesome. Do you mind if I just do some maths on this? I say no. It's like, so that's £100 a week. A year, what do you make that? Oh shit. 5,000 would that? Yeah. Okay. And you were there for 4 years. Okay. So that was 20,000 overall. And maybe there's like, no, I didn't do 2 sessions a week for the whole time. I did it only for 1 year and the rest. Okay, cool. Just like 15,000. You listen to you feel the energy change at that point. Now, maybe like Tim, none of them would, the people I'm speaking to wouldn't have had personal training and spent $20,000 on it over 4 years. So maybe they only spent $3,000. Oh no, that's probably unlikely. What, $40 an hour minimum, 1 session a week. They did it for a year. I don't know, they did it for a year. What's that? 40, 160. I mean, it's still $2,000. So how do you feel like just knowing that there was a sort of 5,000 invested on the personal training? I know it didn't seem to get you further towards your, it doesn't feel great. So I'm assuming like if we could figure out like something that would actually get you the results that you want and help you keep it off, that would be a really good outcome from our call. Yes, they say. All right, that was not meant to be 26 minutes long, but my hope is that that was very useful for you. How to find people, how to use your social media to set up a social media funnel, but the structure that you need to do it and the order that you need to do it and the things that you need to take into consideration so you can get people on your calls that you help them see, and get the right people on your calls that you help them see that they do want online and that they don't just want to buy another personal training session from another personal trainer. Speak soon.